Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to our channel! You may remember that the Jonas Brothers were the focus of attention during the 2000s, not only because of their child celebrity, but also because of their purity rings. Let's check out how Sophie Turner poked fun at Joe Jonas' purity ring on Jonas Brothers Family Roast. Before we start, I'd like you to hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Number 4. The history of purity rings. Kevin, Joe, and Nick each carried purity rings for years as a commitment to refrain from romantic intimacy until they were wedded. In case you didn't know, my ring reflects a pledge to myself and God that I'll keep pure until marriage, Kevin told the Huffington Post in 2008. Kevin was 17, Joe was 15, and Nick was 12 when the band formed in 2005. The brothers and their rings became an ongoing source of public scrutiny and media discourse since they were fresh to the spotlight and getting a lot of attention as three of Disney's newest faces. Aside from the magazines and news outlets' continuous comments at the rings, the boys were mocked in a South Park episode in 2009 and addressed by rapper Jay-Z in his song On to the Next One, that same year, in which he insulted them for still being virgins. Number 3. The Jonas Brothers now. A lot has changed in the years since then. Kevin, now 34, Joe, 32, and Nick, 29, are all married and announced their reunion as a band in 2019, after previously parting in 2013 and spending 6 years focusing on personal projects. Despite the passage of time, the jokes about Joe's notorious purity rings have been resurrected, this time by Joe's wife, Sophie Turner, and in front of a large audience. Sophie, who wedded Joe in Las Vegas in 2019, after 3 years of romance, delivered a series of jokes, taking a jab at her husband and his siblings in the new Netflix special titled Jonas Brothers Family Roast. And Sophie isn't hesitant about bringing up the decade-long discussion over the rings, even joking that Joe had, maybe needlessly, worn his when hooking up with the star throughout his adolescent years. Continue with us to find out how Sophie Turner made roasts over her husband's past. Number 2. Sophie Turner poking jokes at her husband. She starts by saying, "Let's speak about the purity rings. Purity rings, for those of you who don't know, are worn to show that you're not having romantic intimacy before marriage. And indeed, the Jonas Brothers, they each had them. Like, I know this is a roast and you all think I should be coming after them," she says, "but I believe we need to clear the air here. I didn't think the rings were a smart idea. Yes, they're pathetically toe-curlingly lame as a gesture, but keep in mind that this was more than a gesture. This was a test of faith, a test of principle, a test of taking a stance and leading by example. Look, Joe Jonas wasn't just fiddling with some stupid metal rings," she jokes. Sophie makes one more dig, comparing her husband and his ring to a modern-day Cinderella. Joe tried a few times to find a match for his purity rings, but the finger finally suited me, she quips. It was also like Cinderella because the majority of the girls he tested it on were Disney employees. Sophie's jokes made everyone laugh, including the brothers, the crowd, and the Netflix specials' at-home viewers. While Kevin, Nick, and Joe have gotten accustomed to the jokes about their purity rings over the years, it wasn't always like this. Because of the constant ridicule, they have already faced a slew of unpleasant queries about their love life. Joe addressed his and his brother's decision to wear the rings in the light of their Christian upbringing in 2013, shortly after the band announced their breakup. Number 1. The dark side of media. For a long time, the entire promise ring issue was the topic that dominated news coverage of us, he added. We couldn't get away from it. It began when I was quite young. I was maybe 10 or 11 years old at the time. In certain faiths, there's a program called True Love Waits, where you wait until marriage to have romantic intimacy, he stated. Kevin and I agreed to join, and Nick gave it a shot afterwards. Fast forward a few years, and we've begun to play music, are collaborating with Disney, and have these rings. In one of their earliest interviews, Joe claimed that despite making it plain that he and his brothers were uncomfortable discussing the rings, they were continually asked about them. The interviewer insisted on bringing up the matter, and we said we didn't want to talk about it. He said, "I can write whatever I want," which horrified us. That's the problem. We didn't know any better, and all we wanted to do was make people happy. "Why are you so interested in my 15-year-old brother's romantic life?" Joe remarked. That brings us to the end of our video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit like if you did. Well, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Also, watch the 2 videos on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in another video. Until then, take care and goodbye!